welcome to Feline Jungle. One of my goals this year is to share more pet-friendly plants. Some of you might be new cat owners or new plant owners and you're wondering what plant to get if you have a furry friend. So in this video, I'm going to show you my must-have, easy pet-friendly plants so that when your cat bites it, they won't get seriously sick from your plants. The first pet-friendly plant I want to talk about are the Hoyas. This is a Hoya. Hoyas are characterized by their waxy leaves, and it also has these long stems that will trail down eventually. They're also known for their blooms where they have like a cluster of flowers, and when they all open up, it's like different colors of candy. It's like amazing. And the good thing about Hoya plants is that they're a really good beginner plant. They are easy to water because of the waxy leaves. They could tolerate underwatering. And how you can tell that it needs more water is when it gets wrinkly or soft. That's how you know that it needs more water. And then also it tolerates different lighting conditions, but they really like bright light. So this will do really well in a south or west facing window. They're also very common in plant shops actually. The most common ones that you can get are the carnosas and the Hindu rope. The one that I have right here is the OBOVATA. The OBOVATA is actually my favorite type of Hoya because of its huge leaves, and they're all so cute and circular. They also have these splash patterns on it, which is very common for Hoyas, and it will vary on each and every leaf. If you're into smaller types of Hoyas, I can recommend the Hoya Cursii or the Hoya MATHILDE, which is literally the miniature size version of this one. One thing I want to add is that these are actually really attractive to cats because of its long stem. It kind of just like looks like a cat toy to them. So what I recommend is that if they get this long, I would cut it back if you have like a crazy cat, or I would just hang this, which is what I do. I get macrame hangers and I hang it by the window so it's very hard for them to reach. Next I'm going to talk about are the Calatheas. Calatheas are known for their striking pattern on their leaves and also how they move up and down during the day. They have a lot thinner leaves, so it's actually harder to take care of than the Hoyas. They require a lot more humidity and moisture, and the leaves will actually curl up when it needs water. So you have low light and indirect sunlight. This is the perfect plant to get. Because of the very thin leaves, they will actually crisp up if they have too much direct sunlight. My favorite one is actually the one I'm holding right now, the MAKOYANA. The MAKOYANA has this crazy cool pattern on it, and also on the back it has this purple underlining on it. What I like about this one compared to all the other fussier Calatheas is that the MAKOYANA requires less watering, and also it does better without humidity too. And I think it's because it has little sacs of like water sacs in the soil that helps retain the water, whereas other Calatheas don't have that. If you have something like the ZZ plant, you'll see like it'll have these sacs that retain a lot of water. So this does something similar. So it actually requires less water than common Calatheas. It's not very fussy with the water too. I just use tap water and it does completely fine. There are some new leaves and there are some that are dying, but that's because it's winter. So there's some lower leaves that are dying, which is completely fine because I also see a lot of new growth. So I highly recommend this Calathea if you ever get into them. The next type of plants I want to talk about are orchids. There are many different types of orchids. They're known for their flowers, and the most common ones you can find in Whole Foods or Trader Joe's for $10, and they're really, really beautiful. Orchids like humidity, but they don't like to sit in wet soil. So what I've seen people do is change out the soil and they will use leca. Leca is basically clay balls that are around this size, and they're more porous, and because of how big they are, they allow for more circulation for the roots so that they can breathe and not rot in the soil. Different orchids need different lighting conditions. Generally, they need bright light. My favorite orchid is actually this one. This is the jewel orchid, also known as the Ludicea discolor. And this is a more uncommon orchid that I got from Etsy because I'm not really much of a flower person. I'm really into the foliage of this orchid. It has this very velvet feel to it, and it also has this iridescent glow. Surprisingly, this is actually blooming for me. This is my first orchid and it's blooming, and I can't wait to see how the blooms will look. I think they just have white flowers and a yellow center. But yeah, it's been blooming for I think a month now. So it's about time for them to actually flower. We'll see. The next plant I want to talk about are peperomias. They're actually really hard to characterize. They can be smooth or textured. They're sometimes even purple, green, variegated. But what I generally see is that they're really small and compact. Here are two different types of peperomias. You can see they look really different. Depending on the leaves, it will require different watering. So generally speaking, if they have thicker leaves, they will need less watering. If they have thinner leaves, then it will need watering. And you will notice that if it starts getting wrinkly or soft, that's when you know you have to water your plant. Also, they like really low lighting conditions or indirect lighting conditions because I think in nature they grow on the ground more often. And I learned that with my Peperomia frost, which has really nice silvery tones to it, but I put it too close to the window and then it started turning yellow on me. So that's when you can tell that it can't tolerate really high lighting conditions. My favorite one is this watermelon Peperomia. It actually took me 2 times to understand how to take care of it. The first one I killed, and then this one I realized that it needs, it likes humidity, and also you have to know when to water it because I lost the first one due to root rot. So how I can tell that it needs watering now is just by feeling the leaves. If it's feeling a bit soft or limp, that's how you know that it needs to be watered. Also, the trick with this guy is that when it doesn't have enough nutrients, the leaves will start curling up like popcorn. That's how you know that it needs to be fertilized. So after having 2 of them, I finally figured out how to take care of it. The last plant I want to talk about are the Pileas, specifically the Pilea peperomoides. This is a baby one that I have. It's also known as the UFO or the pancake plant because of its round shaped leaves. These have been really popular in the last 2 years, and they're kind of like succulents. They have very succulent thick leaves, which is really easy to take care of because they need minimal watering, and you can tell that it needs watering when the stem starts to droop down a little bit. Also, it needs very bright light, which I had to learn by mistake, because if it doesn't have enough light, it will start stretching. What I mean is that the stem will start growing towards the window or towards whatever light source it has. And what I learned with this guy is that you actually have to rotate them because you'll start getting conditions like this where there's no leaves on this side and there's only leaves on one side. So with this guy, you have to rotate it, but it's very easy to take care of and cute plant to have. Very common. It used to be very uncommon to find, but now I see them in basically any plant store for under $10. So those are my top 5 must-have pet-friendly plants. Which one is your favorite, or do you have one that I didn't even talk about? Because there's so much more pet-friendly plants out there. I'm trying to make a new series of pet-friendly pins. The first one I designed just dropped last December, which is a prickly cactus pin. I need your help on which plant pin to design next. If you're watching this and you have both cats and plants, you can enter my January photo contest where you can win a drawing of your cat and plant drawn by me. For more information, you can go to my website at felinejungle.com. Thank you so much for your support. If you like my projects about pet-friendly plants, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!